stay safe. I'm Anson Tebbetts with the Vermont Agency of Agriculture. We know many of you are hurting. Through the next few minutes, we're going to share some information with you to try to help you get through this pandemic. We've got some special guests as well. We call this the Fireside Chats, but the weather's so nice and we're out amongst the animals, we thought we'd move outside to talk a little bit about what's happening. We have a number of resources for you, and we want to talk about those right now. We also have some special guests upcoming, think donuts. But first, some information from the Agency of Agriculture as we get ready for the response and the recovery during this pandemic. We're trying to find new markets for food that was destined for restaurants or institutions like schools. We're trying to increase the amount of local food that's going into grocery stores in response to that increased consumer demand. We're supporting farmers to sell direct to consumers as farms remain open during this time, and consumers are wanting those home connections and the farm connections. We're launching web-based purchasing options to expand market channels without that person-to-person contact. We're providing guidance to farmers, producers, and consumers about the latest up-to-date guidance from the governor and our health officials. And we want to ensure that the ag community knows about and can access all federal and state stimulus programs that are released. Now to our special guests. As everyone is doing during this pandemic, we're all having to adapt on the fly. Our two guests are, I want to say, entrepreneurs, but also small business people. They've got young children, but they're serving their community. And we're going to talk about, believe it or not, everyone's favorite, and we have some here. We're going to talk about donuts. Now, who doesn't like donuts? These donuts, and these were delivered actually to my mailbox, which is happening now. But we'll get to that in just a moment. So I want to get the names correct here. We have Nina and Nate. We have Nate Doyon and Nina Liverlara.
Great.
Oh, there we go. So let's talk donuts for just a few moments. So you make donuts. So how do you make a donut?
So it's more than you would think. It starts the night before. So the night before, after bedtime, which is, a party, we put the kids to sleep. We divide and conquer. I start making the dough at 8 o'clock, and we use a pre-ferment to start our dough. And the pre-ferment kickstarts it and starts activating all the wonderful flavors, and that bulk ferments for another 5 hours. In which case I wake up at 2 a.m. and and start the whole process of cutting, proofing, getting everything ready, very meticulous. And I got a little routine. I got my coffee in the morning, and I go through the motions. And by the time of 6:30 a.m. I'm packaging, and we're delivering, and out the door, kids are bundled up, and we go as a family.
It's a wild ride because we are doing this as the kids are sleeping, and Nate is hand frying the donuts in a beautiful, well-seasoned cast iron pan in our home bakery.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So Nina, how did this all start? So how did you, why donuts? Where did you learn this? There's a million other things we could have done.
Right.
You could have cheese, you could have made butter, you could have,
Right.
whatever, but you decided to do donuts. But both of you are specially trained, right?
Absolutely. So I went to culinary school in Italy, and I'm a classically trained, what's called a savory chef. And Nate has a degree in pastry.
The sweeter side.
The sweet side. And so Nate has been doing these donuts for 2 years at his place of work, which is Carrier Coffee Roasting in Northfield, and selling these donuts over the counter direct to our beloved customers. So when Carrier shut with the pandemic and everything that's going on with COVID-19, we started getting flooded with emails saying, oh my gosh, our weekend donuts, that's like the highlight of my kids' weekend.
Yeah, literally, we only did them on the weekends. So people started emailing us, and it started just with a couple families. They
wanted a home delivery, and we said, why not? Let's do this. And it became this beautiful, organic, progression of a new form of this business.
And for us too, we're both service providers, and so we didn't have a purpose when everything shut down. So we weren't doing anything. And when these emails came in, I was like, why not? We had to figure out some hard calls on how to be safe and
Safety
and
precautions.
do this the right way. But
For sure.
like I said, it just started with Northfield, but we're in 5 communities now. And I said I wake up at 2:00. Well, now it's borderline midnight, to make sure all these donuts get made for everybody that are calling in. So
you lost your job, so you're adapting, so you've got to do that. So you're trying to get through that, but then you're an entrepreneur and like, okay, now's the time that we've got to do this. And probably on a normal circumstances, you would have spent 6 months to a year doing a business plan, ramping up,
oh God,
doing
yeah.
market research, doing all this stuff. So here you are doing it.
Yeah.
So you make these donuts, and let's talk about them a little bit. Maybe I don't know if you can see them. So there's one that has a sort of a sesame seed on the outside. What's that one?
Yes.
So that is a honey sesame cardamom donut. That is for the folks who love the more savory. And the original donut is the salted sugar.
Yeah,
That's the first donut
The one that's
we
closest
ever
to you
made.
right now. Yes.
There's a little touch of salt in there with the sugar and a little baking spice that gives it that kind of nice savory component as well.
Yeah. Sweet and salty.
Sweet and salty.
There's something in
And
the middle of this, right?
oh yeah, that is
Oh,
a
yeah.
secret. That is a jam filled. That is like that is filled with a raspberry jam.
All right, so it's called, and this is how they arrived in my John Deere mailbox. It's called Local Donut from Nina and Nate. You've got a little heart there and a big thank you. So you're on the road, and now everything is curbside, everything is direct order, minimal
Absolutely.
contact. So that's what you're doing now, right?
Absolutely. But there's also a component where local businesses like the coffee shop, Carrier Roasting, Front Seat Coffee in Hardwick, and a couple other farm stands.
Maple Corners store in
Maple Corners
Calais.
store.
They're doing a pre-order service for their guests and customers who want our donuts. So they're pre-ordering ahead of time, and we're dropping off the deliveries for them to pass on to their customers.
We wanted to make sure that stores are getting a good funneling of customers. So it's a good partnership. They get extra customers who are buying other things, and we get to sell our donuts directly to them, and they get dispersed in a very safe way. So it works out for us too. And also we're buying all of our ingredients locally too. We're trying to buy from the Craftsberry store and just try to shorten the supply chain to Vermont. Our honey is a local Vermont honey, maple syrup, Rogers Milk in Northfield, and Black Dirt Farm in Stratford.
Standard.
Yeah, not Stratford.
A little town with no zip code next to Hardwick.
That's the kingdom. They're really the kingdom, the Standard. Yeah. So you're helping others. You're also providing, in this world, we need a little bit of comfort right now. And I think you're also entrepreneurs, but you're also providing a little bit of love, a little bit of comfort, because what better to have with your coffee or your tea or whatever, or is a donut. And what is it about the donut that is makes us feel so great?
It's nostalgia, I think. I grew up with it. When we were sugaring in, God, I must have been 6 or 7. My aunt would make yeast donuts, and they wouldn't be coated with anything. It would just be plain, and we dip them into maple syrup. So I grew up with that, and she taught us, my family, how to do it, and I just passed that on. So for me, it's nostalgia, and I think for a lot of other people, you can't get sweets right now. Everyone's closed, and it's starting to kind of kickstart back, but we're delivering a product that is, a little weekend treat.
Yeah, and that's the classic donut for sugar on snow parties, right? That's the
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeast donuts.
the
Yep.
pickle raised donut and the sugar on snow. I know, and you don't
Absolutely.
see that very much
No.
as much as you used to. So bring that one back, please.
Yes.
That would be awesome. So just to sort of wrap this up, so what's next for you? I think you've found something, but where do you want this to go? I mean, is this going to be something that's going to be with you for a while, or are you going to turn it into a bigger business?
Absolutely. So our dream is to continue the local sourcing and having the direct relationship with our farm vendors. And when the farmers markets reopen, which, we're have an application in for the Hardwick Farmers Market. And we really want to work with farm stands and small general stores and local businesses to get the donuts out there. And it'll kind of move into a more what's called a wholesale, whereas you sell to a business that will then pass it on to their customers. But as we are realizing, as we hear the little children pipe, through the window, the donuts are here, the donuts are here. There's so much joy in
Home delivery.
So we will keep that component for a special occasion, or someone who wants to send a dozen donuts to someone as a gift or something like that for a party or an anniversary or a birthday. So we're going to keep that because that is really important to who we are right now.
And if we can be almost a role model to other people on the sideline thinking, it's too complicated, it's kind of scary. I'm giving you a lot of encouragement for anyone listening. You can do this. There's a lot of people who need a little spark on the weekend. So if you know anything and can do anything, please step up. And people need this.
Yeah,
for sure.
And a lot of people are. It's called Local Donut in Woodbury. Best to you and your family. Thanks for adapting, supporting Vermont agriculture. And stay on it. And as we get through this, more good will come as we work our way through that. So thank you and congratulations, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your donuts.
Yes, enjoy.
Well, thank you. Bye-bye. We want to thank our guests for being with us for these little chats. Just a reminder, heading out into the public, make sure you have your mask for you to make sure you're safe and make sure everyone around you is safe. Stay home, stay safe, and thanks for joining us here at the Vermont Agency of Agriculture. I'm Anson